Hello and welcome to Oreo. My name is Sam.
I'm Lottie.
And my name is Karl.
And we are very excited to be joined by Gareth Brierley. He's an actor, writer and director with more than 20 years in the entertainment industry, which includes some awards, nominations, and worked with some upcoming talents. Gareth Brierley, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, I want to start off with a quote taken from your very own website.
Oh no.
An unremarkable white man.
Right.
What's the thinking behind this?
I got a review once, which I thought went, and this is about 10 years ago, and a review in this place in Oxford at the theatre, and they went, an unremarkable white man walks onto stage, and I always just made me laugh so much. That was the review I got. An unremarkable white man.
And you're printing that on
I
the very first thing on your
That'd be my
website.
gravestone.
Oh, so you're an actor, writer and director.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a really mean question.
Go on.
Which one's your favourite?
Lottie, you can't do that to the man now. Come on.
I've done it.
It's tricky. I think as you get older, you get lazier. So going on tour, being an actor and being on tour and doing lots of that stuff, I kind of prefer maybe being behind the scenes now. So writing's the hardest because you're on your own completely, and you have to go through loads of drafts. And it's very harder. Directing. Let's say directing.
Ooh.
Made a decision.
Another one leading on to that.
Yeah.
Have you got a most memorable moment from one of those?
From directing.
Any of them?
Any of those. Oh God, there's so many. So many.
Pick one.
I did a commercial for Emirates Airline, and we filmed on this is a couple of years ago, we filmed on a aircraft, and we did it in Dubai, in the airport there, so one of their planes. And we were filming, and the director's going, come on, we need to go quicker. And I heard something in the background, and sort of a bang, and they suddenly got us off the plane, and I went outside, and there was an engine next to us on fire. And the plane the first ever Emirates airline crash, had crashed about 100 metres away from us.
You didn't have anything to do with
that?
No,
I hope we didn't have anything to do with it. Right, that was it. That was kind of like the most recent kind of horrifying experience.
Well, talking about memories, Gareth. So you graduated from Leicester in 1994, doing Device Theatre, and to this day you still do it as a people show. You're passionate about it, actually.
Yeah.
Where does the passion come from, and why do you still continue to do it?
I think I like the idea of us making work from scratch. I think Device Theatre, we've all done Device Theatre, people do drama, they do it when they're 18 and GCSE and A-level and BTEC. But I think the idea of, rather than sometimes an actor, I just turn up, I'd be given the lines to say and I say the lines and that's it. It's something about a group of us four together making a show from scratch is always really exciting. I've always found that moment when all four of us might be, we're going to make a show, we don't know what it's about, but we know in 3 weeks' time we're going to put it in front of an audience. That's always really fresh and exciting.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's quite dynamic as well.
Terrifying. Really good fun.
Terrifying.
We're going to come up with something good.
So you mentioned the People Show, which is, for you guys who don't know, People Show is the longest running experimental theatre in England, which you've been a part of. What sort of shows do they bring to an audience?
Well, I think the big thing about the People Show is that every show they do, they don't have a director.
Okay.
It's all about those people making those shows in that room. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. So you might get a theatre show. They've done shows in theatres, at the National, at the Barbican. They might do shows, huge kind of theatre shows, but also they've done shows in a phone box. They've done shows on a boat. We've done shows in a park, in Battersea Park in London.
How do you do a show in a phone box?
Well, the idea behind that phone box is like it was a one person, so it's just one member of the audience would come in, and there'd be instructions from a phone, there'd be instructions on a kind of like pads. So it was almost like a People Show were always doing kind of site-specific or kind of those experimental experience performances, back in the day, back in the 70s and 60s. They were the foremost of that. So it's probably things that we would get now in a corporate event. Someone might do a kind of like, like an escape room. Yeah. They might have been kind of like invented that back then. Really.
See, I like the sound of it. It sounds so fresh, and it sounds like you can go and always do something new and then have fun with it all the time. Because that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Get your creativity juices going.
And we're really excited this year. We've got the theatre show, but we're doing a show in a shopping mall in one of the empty units in May. So I went and looked at these empty shopping malls and thinking, oh, that's really interesting. So the space might decide what the show's about rather than us appearing with the text, first of all. That makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. Now, you've written and starred in a short series called Pitches. Could you tell us a bit about that?
I can. Pitches is something I did last year, and it was trying to make something as a little kind of web series, and the idea behind Pitches is, as experienced as a writer, if you're a screenwriter, you would have to sometimes pay money to pitch your idea. That's what happens a lot of times. So people pay $35 to pitch it to this idea to Hollywood, your idea. So my idea was about this guy who thinks he's pitching his movies, but it's a scam. They're just taking his money. So we see 6 episodes of him pitching the worst ideas in the world of these things. And there's 6 episodes, and it's a little web series. It's done well. It's won some awards now and been nominated for a few things. But it's a really simple conceit. There's just one camera because it's a Skype call, and he's kind of chatting and trying to skip these, pitch these terrible movie ideas. And it's quite sad.
Talking of things coming up, next month the People Show have got a show 137, which is called God Knows How Many.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what that brings?
Well, it's really exciting because it's, as I said, People Show have been going since 1966, and Mark Long is one of the founder members of the People Show, and he's in it in his 70s. We've got Mr. George Karl, who started in People Show number 2. He's 82, and we've got Emil Walk, and he's 77, I think. And so it's all 3 of them together have made this show with Bill, who's done all the kind of props and sound and set, and they've kind of made this show, and it's about what it's like to be a performer in a sense. You know, that 50 years or 60 years nearly later on, and about them trying to think they can still do some of the old routines and discussing things about pensions, but also very funny, still in this kind of really creative kind of like interesting way. So it's a really important piece.
What's your opinion on storytelling? Because obviously in life, you know, we're always telling stories. You know, we tell a story about when we wake up in the morning, what we had to eat, anything. You know what I mean? I could tell you a story about how I came down from London, etc., etc. And we're always using stories, whether it's in performance. What's your view on storytelling, just as itself?
Well, I think storytelling has always been the most important thing. It's like culturally, you know, that's how we shared stories, you know, around the kind of like fire, sharing stories, and those stories would move on generation to generation. And I think now we still have that tradition. I think, of course, it's all the time. We see it in TV, it's films, books. It's really, really important. I think with theatre, it's really important. One of the things we always do is go, what do you do at the start of rehearsal? And we go, what happened to your trip to London? And you might start talking about that, and there might be something that happened, and we might use that in the show.
So
not all of it.
I got a game for you then.
Oh yeah, go on,
storytelling. One truth and one lie. You probably heard of it before, because usually 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay. But it's Karl's version. Okay, so 1 truth and 1 lie.
Got a little prize as well if you are able to fool us.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So I've got to think of 1 truth and 1 lie now. Okay. Okay. First one. I nearly said what it was then. First one is I was back in 1995. I was arrested for international terrorism. That's my first one.
Okay.
And the second one is I once danced with Beyonce.
I need help. What do you guys think? Number one.
I'll say lie. I say 1. It's a lie.
No one.
I think that's the truth.
Wait, as the lie or the truth?
Yeah.
The first one's the truth.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Second one's a lie.
Which one?
The dancing with Beyonce.
Say.
Is that the lie?
Second one's a lie.
Yes, that means we get the Oreo.
Yeah, you can't get one now, sorry.
No, but you can have one just...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was wrongly suspected of international terrorism. I have to make that quite clear. Yeah.
All right, well, sadly that is all we have time for.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for playing 1 Truth, 1 Lie as Gareth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming and joining us today. I'm afraid that is all we have time for.
And thank you again, everyone, for coming, and thank you, Gareth, and everything. So, guys, you can check us out on the Beds YouTube TV, and you can see the rest of the live stream and the complete versions of it, and we shall see you later. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Now,
Of course.